Jennifer Lopez was humiliated on live television, and it all started with brutal words from Joy Behar. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments where you are tuning in from. We'd love to know how far this story travels. Jennifer Lopez walked onto the View set that morning, expecting the usual promotional circuit experience. She had a new project to discuss, some upcoming tour dates to mention, and she figured it would be another friendly chat with the ladies. The audience was buzzing with excitement. Phones were recording, and everything seemed perfectly normal as she took her seat next to Joy Behar, who was filling in as the main interviewer that day. But Joy had something else in mind entirely. Instead of the warm welcome that guests typically receive, Joy's opening was ice cold and calculated. She barely looked at Jennifer as she shuffled through her notes. And when the camera started rolling, her first words set a tone that nobody in that studio was prepared for. "So Jennifer," Joy began, her voice dripping with what could only be described as barely concealed disdain. "Let's talk about your latest project. Another romantic comedy where you play essentially the same character you've been playing for the past 20 years. Don't you think it's time to, I don't know, try something different? Or are you just going to keep recycling the same formula until people stop buying tickets?" The studio fell silent. Even the camera operator seemed to pause for a moment, unsure if they had heard correctly. Jennifer's smile faltered slightly, but she maintained her composure like the professional she is. "Well, Joy, I think audiences connect with stories about love and relationships because they're universal themes," Jennifer replied, her voice steady but with just a hint of confusion about the hostile tone. "I've been fortunate to work with amazing directors and writers who bring fresh perspectives to these stories, and I always try to find something new in every character I play." Joy wasn't having any of it. She leaned back in her chair and let out a dismissive laugh that echoed through the studio. "Fresh perspectives, really? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you read just cashing in on the same romantic lead role over and over again. I mean, how many times can you play the successful career woman who finds love in unexpected places? Isn't that literally the plot of like half your movies?" The other hosts were exchanging glances, clearly uncomfortable with the direction this interview was taking. Sunny Hostin looked like she wanted to jump in and redirect the conversation, but Joy was just getting started. Jennifer shifted in her seat, her professional smile becoming more strained by the second. "I think that's a pretty reductive way to look at my career, Joy. Each project brings its own challenges and opportunities for growth as an actor. I've also been involved in producing many of these films, which gives me creative control over the stories we're telling." "Oh, creative control," Joy repeated mockingly, making air quotes with her fingers. "Is that what we're calling it now? Because it seems to me like you figured out a formula that works financially, and you're just sticking with it, regardless of whether it's actually good for cinema or not. I mean, let's be honest here. When was the last time you took a real acting risk?" The tension in the room was becoming palpable. Jennifer's jaw tightened slightly, and for the first time since sitting down, she looked directly at Joy with an expression that could have cut glass. "I'm not sure what you're trying to accomplish here, Joy, but I came on this show to have a conversation, not to be attacked for my career choices," Jennifer said, her voice remaining calm, but with an edge that everyone in the studio could feel. "I've been working in this industry for over 2 decades, and I've been fortunate enough to build a career doing what I love while connecting with audiences around the world." Joy wasn't backing down. If anything, Jennifer's pushback seemed to energize her even more. "Attacked? I'm just asking the questions that I think a lot of people are wondering about. You've built this empire on being America's sweetheart, but behind all the glamour and the perfect image, what's really there? What happens when the cameras stop rolling and the makeup comes off? What kind of question is that?" Jennifer asked, genuine bewilderment creeping into her voice. "Are you suggesting that I'm somehow fake or inauthentic because I work hard to maintain a professional image? That's literally part of being in the entertainment industry." "Professional image?" Joy scoffed. Is that what we're calling multiple marriages and relationships that play out in the tabloids? Is that what we recalling the constant need to stay in the spotlight, no matter what the cost? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks less like professionalism and more like desperation. The gasps from the audience were audible now. Even the production crew seemed stunned by the personal nature of Joy's attacks. Jennifer's face had gone from confused to genuinely hurt, and then to something much more dangerous. Controlled anger. "I can't believe you just said that," Jennifer said quietly, her voice barely above a whisper, but somehow carrying more weight than if she had shouted. "My personal relationships are exactly that personal. The fact that they've been covered by the media doesn't give you the right to use them as ammunition in what was supposed to be a professional interview." Joy leaned forward, clearly enjoying the fact that she had gotten under Jennifer's skin. "Oh, but they're not really personal when you're calling paparazzi to photograph your romantic dinners, are they? They're not personal when you're releasing statements through your publicist about every breakup and makeup. You can't have it both ways, Jennifer. You can court the media attention when it benefits you and then cry foul when someone asks you real questions about it." Jennifer stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor in a way that made everyone in the studio jump. "Real questions? You call personal attacks and character assassination real questions? I've done thousands of interviews in my career, Joy, and I've never encountered anything like this level of unprofessionalism." "Unprofessional?" Joy laughed again, that same dismissive sound that was becoming her signature move in this disaster of an interview. "I think it is unprofessional to come on a talk show and expect nothing but softball questions and fake compliments. This is The View, not your personal publicity machine." The other hosts were now actively trying to intervene, but Joy held up her hand to stop them. She was clearly relishing this moment, this chance to tear down someone she apparently viewed as an easy target. "You know what I think?" Joy continued, her voice getting louder and more aggressive. "I think you're used to everyone treating you like royalty, like you're above criticism or honest discussion about your choices. But newsflash, Jennifer, celebrity worship isn't journalism. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that your latest movie is groundbreaking cinema, when we both know it is just another vanity project designed to keep your face on movie screens." Jennifer's hands were visibly shaking now, but not from fear. This was pure, unadulterated rage being held in check by years of media training and professional discipline. "You clearly have some kind of personal issue with me, Joy, and I'm not going to sit here and be your punching bag just because you're having a bad day or because you think attacking me will get you some kind of viral moment. Personal issue?" Joy's voice reached a new level of condescension. "Trust me, sweetheart. I don't have personal issues with people I don't know personally. What I have is professional standards, and I refuse to participate in the kind of celebrity worship that passes for journalism these days. If you can't handle being asked real questions about your career and your choices, then maybe you shouldn't be doing interviews at all." The word "sweetheart" hung in the air like a slap across the face. Jennifer's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, everyone in that studio thought they were about to witness something that would make entertainment history for all the wrong reasons. Jennifer took a deep breath, and when she spoke again, her voice had changed completely. Gone was any pretense of politeness or media training. This was someone who had finally decided she wasn't going to take any more abuse. "You want to talk about professional standards, Joy? Let's talk about them." A professional interviewer prepares questions that actually relate to why their guest is there. A professional interviewer doesn't use their platform to launch personal attacks on someone they've never met. And a professional interviewer certainly doesn't talk down to their guests like they read children who need to be put in their place. Joy's smug expression flickered for just a moment, but she quickly recovered. "Oh, so now you're going to lecture me about how to do my job. That's rich." Coming from someone whose biggest acting challenge in the last decade was deciding which designer dress to wear to the premiere. "Are you kidding me right now?" Jennifer's voice was rising, and she was no longer making any attempt to hide her anger. You sitting there talking about professional standards while you're literally bullying me on national television. You think that makes you some kind of hard-hitting journalist? All it makes you cruel. The audience was completely silent now, except for a few uncomfortable murmurs. This wasn't the entertainment they had come for. This was painful to watch, and everyone in that studio knew they were witnessing something that was spiraling completely out of control. Joy, however, seemed to be feeding off the chaos she had created. Bullying? That's what we're calling honest questions now. You know what's cruel, Jennifer? Cruel is making movies that insult the intelligence of audiences just so you can maintain your lifestyle. Cruel is taking roles away from actresses who might actually bring something new to them. Cruel is pretending to be relatable while living in a bubble that most people couldn't even imagine. You don't know anything about my life or what I've been through to get where I am, Jennifer shot back, her composure finally cracking completely. You don't know about the rejections. The times I was told I wasn't good enough. The times I was told I didn't fit into Hollywood's narrow definition of what a leading lady should look like. You don't know about the work I do behind the scenes, the people I employ, the charities I support, or the barriers I've broken down for other Latina actresses. Oh, here we go with the victim narrative, Joy interrupted, waving her hand dismissively. Poor Jennifer Lopez is struggling against all odds while living in mansions and flying on private jets. Do you really expect people to feel sorry for you because Hollywood is tough? Everyone in entertainment faces rejection. The difference is most people don't turn their personal struggles into marketing campaigns. Jennifer was standing now, her hands clenched at her sides. You are unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I came here to talk about my work, to connect with fans, to have a normal conversation. And you've turned this into some kind of twisted therapy session where you get to play amateur psychologist and tear me apart for your own entertainment. For my entertainment? Joy laughed that dismissive laugh again. Trust me, Jennifer, this isn't entertaining, it's depressing. It is depressing to watch someone who has every advantage in the world play the victim card instead of taking responsibility for their choices. It's depressing to see how entitled celebrities have become, expecting everyone to treat them like they're doing us all a favor just by existing. The other hosts were now actively trying to jump in. But both women were so locked in their battle that they weren't paying attention to anyone else in the room. This had become personal in a way that went far beyond a simple interview gone wrong. Entitled. You want to talk about entitlement? Jennifer's voice was shaking with fury now. What's entitled is thinking you have the right to ambush someone on your show. What's entitled is thinking that because you have a platform, you can use it to tear people down for sport. What is entitled is sitting behind that desk acting like you somehow morally superior to everyone else when all you're doing is being a bully with a microphone. Joy's face was getting red now, and for the first time in the interview, she looked genuinely angry instead of just smugly condescending. A bully? I'm a bully for asking you tough questions? I'm a bully for not kissing your feet like everyone else does? Maybe the problem isn't me, Jennifer. Maybe the problem is that you so used to being surrounded by yes people that you can handle it when someone actually challenges you. Challenges me, Jennifer's voice cracked slightly, and for a moment, real hurt showed through her anger. This isn't challenging me, Joy. This is attacking me. There's a difference between asking difficult questions and what you're doing right now. What you're doing right now is cruel, and it's beneath what this show is supposed to be about. Don't you dare tell me what this show is supposed to be about. Joy snapped back, her own professional mask finally slipping completely. I've been doing this longer than you've been famous. I've interviewed presidents, world leaders, Nobel Prize winners, people who have actually made a difference in the world, and then I have to sit here and pretend that your latest romantic comedy is somehow newsworthy or important. Do you have any idea how insulting that is? Jennifer stared at her in shock. So that's what this is really about. You think I'm beneath you? You think my work doesn't matter because it's not serious enough for your standards? You think that because I make movies that entertain people instead of winning awards at film festivals, I don't deserve basic human respect. I think, Joy said slowly, her voice dripping with condescension, that there's a difference between entertainment and art, and there's a difference between being famous and being important. And I think a lot of people in your position have forgotten which category they actually fall into. The studio was so quiet, you could hear the hum of the cameras. Even the production crew had stopped moving around. Everyone was frozen, watching this career-defining moment unfold in real time. Jennifer's voice, when she finally spoke, was barely above a whisper. But it carried more power than anything she had said so far. You know what, Joy? You're right about one thing. There is a difference between being famous and being important. But there is also a difference between being a journalist and being a bitter person who uses their platform to make other people feel small so they can feel big. And right now I know exactly which category you fall into. Joy's face went pale, and for the first time since the interview started, she seemed to realize that she might have pushed too far. I think you're being a little dramatic here, Jennifer. This is just a conversation. Just a conversation. Jennifer's laugh was hollow and sharp. You just spent the last 15 minutes attacking my career, my personal life, my character, and my worth as a human being, and you think this is just a conversation? You think ambushing someone and then trying to destroy their confidence on national television is just having a chat? I'm not trying to destroy anything, Joy protested. But her voice lacked the conviction it had carried throughout the rest of the interview. I'm just trying to have an honest discussion about celebrity culture in the entertainment industry. No, you're not, Jennifer said firmly. You're trying to humiliate me because you think it will make good television. You're trying to break me down because you think watching someone fall apart on camera will get you ratings, but I'm not going to give you that satisfaction. Jennifer turned toward the other hosts who had been sitting in stunned silence throughout most of this exchange. I want to apologize to you ladies for what this has become. This isn't what I signed up for, and I'm sure it's not what you expected either. But I will not sit here and be anyone's punching bag, not even for the sake of being polite. She turned back to Joy, who was now looking distinctly uncomfortable as she realized that she had lost control of the situation she had created. And as for you, Joy, I hope whatever satisfaction you're getting from this was worth it, because this is not journalism. This is not professional. This is just mean. The cameras were still rolling, capturing every word, every expression, every moment of this disaster. Jennifer looked directly into the main camera, addressing the audience at home. To anyone watching this, I want you to know that this is not representative of what The View usually is. The other ladies on this show are professionals who treat their guests with respect, even when they ask difficult questions. What happened here today is not normal, and it's not okay. Joy tried to regain some control, her voice shaky but still defiant. Jennifer, I think you're overreacting. This is television. This is what happens on talk shows. People have conversations. Sometimes they get heated, and that's part of the process. Jennifer turned back to face Joy, and the look in her eyes was something that nobody in that studio would ever forget. It wasn't anger anymore. It was something much more powerful. It was complete and utter disappointment, mixed with a clarity that comes when someone finally sees a situation for exactly what it is. No, Joy, this is not what happens on talk shows. What happens on talk shows is that hosts prepare thoughtful questions. They listen to their guests' answers, and they treat people with basic human dignity. What you did here today was plan an ambush. You came in here with the intention of tearing me down, and you used your position of power to try to make me feel worthless. Joy opened her mouth to respond, but Jennifer held up her hand. I'm not finished. You want to know what's really sad about this whole situation? It's that you had a chance to have a meaningful conversation with me. You could have asked me about my journey as a Latino woman in Hollywood. You could have asked me about the challenges of building a business empire while maintaining an artistic career. You could have asked me about my work with various charities or my experiences as a mother. Instead, you chose to try to humiliate me." The other hosts were nodding slightly, clearly agreeing with Jennifer's assessment of the situation. Sunny host looked like she wanted to apologize on behalf of the entire show, while the others just looked embarrassed by what they had witnessed. "But here's what you didn't count on, Joy," Jennifer continued, her voice growing stronger with each word. "You didn't count on the fact that I've been dealing with people like you my entire career. You're not the first person who's tried to make me feel small, and you won't be the last. But the difference is, I've learned how to stand up for myself. I've learned that I don't need to accept mistreatment just to keep the peace." Joy looked like she wanted to interrupt again, but Jennifer raised her hand firmly. "You had an opportunity today, not just to interview me, but to show young women watching that tough questions can be asked with grace. Those conversations can be real without being cruel, but you chose hostility. You chose ego. You chose spectacle." Jennifer gathered her things, standing up fully now, her presence commanding the room. The audience erupted into spontaneous applause, soft at first, then swelling. The hosts looked around, stunned. Even some of the crew members were clapping. As she began walking off the set, Joy called out, "Jennifer, please, let's not end it like this." Jennifer paused, then turned one last time. "You already decided how it would end when you made your first comment. I came here to share my work. You came to tear it down. So yes, it ends like this." And with that, Jennifer Lopez walked off set, leaving Joy Behar sitting alone, the applause still ringing in the background. To anyone watching this who has ever been bullied, who has ever been made to feel small, who has ever been told that they were not good enough, I want you to know that you have the power to walk away too. You have the power to surround yourself with people who lift you up instead of tear you down. And you have the power to refuse to let anyone else define your worth. So what do you think of Jennifer Lopez and Joy Behar? Let us know your thoughts and stories in the comments below.